Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
Hi. Welcome to another episode of But Am I Wrong? Starring two people who have not once ever been wrong. We've been hot. We've been gorgeous. We've been smart. We've been eclectic. We've been hilarious. We've been aspirational. But we've never been wrong. We've been gassy. We haven't been wrong.
God. Well.
Sorry, triggering for you. It's an aspiration for me. I would love to be a little gassy today.
It wasn't even that. Just imagine yourself sitting in a class that you're not a class, a group that you're supposed to be leading, and you're like, I got 5 minutes.
When I tell you the first time you told me you were going to do this, I said, what happens if you get diarrhea? And you said, I don't know. You're talking about worried.
Here we are.
I'm always worried about having diarrhea.
It was my fault. Because yesterday I had a recording in person that wasn't at my home. I had to go to that place. And I was like, I have no groceries, so I'm going to stop at Trader Joe's on the way. But I was so hungry too.
Yeah.
And there's no Trader Joe's like really in a straight shoot at all.
Yep.
And so I was like, I'm going to take the streets because we've ended at 4:30. So I'm not getting on a highway.
No.
Especially on the east side. So I'm like, I'm going to take the streets. And that way, the closest Trader Joe's was the one at USC. And
you did this to yourself.
I did. And it took me an hour to get there and I was starving. And I was like, maybe if I just eat, I got one of the wraps. And I was like, if I just eat the chicken out the inside of it, I'll be fine.
It was fraternizing with the enemy. Well, I feel bad for your bowels, but I will say I'm hoping for some of that energy for myself. Desperately.
I hope for you too.
I promise we won't keep talking about pooping. But if you want to hear us talk more about pooping, just subscribe because you want to listen to all of the episodes. Like we keep you up to date. You're talking to two people who cannot digest a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And do you think you have IBS in general?
I don't really know the definition of, I know it's irritable bowel syndrome, but I don't know really what it is. And it seems like everybody has it in some form anyway. So why put a label on it?
Yeah. No, it's just like my tummy is angry and there's nothing I can do.
Mm-hmm. But when I was in Houston, I mostly just ate meat everywhere.
It's so much better.
Stomach was perfectly fine.
I know. Get a little backed up, but perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Delicious. Well, subscribe to the rest of our shows because it's a topic of conversation at all times. Mm-hmm. But this show, if you're new here, this is But Am I Wrong? Where we pitch things in our own life, circumstances, situations, hot takes that we're like, hey, are we wrong? We're never wrong. But then we read your submissions. In one of our other segments, we tell you if you are wrong. And then finally, we also talk about pop culture and current events. And all of it is under the umbrella of who is wrong. And we give our input, but you also get to give your input. You also get to give your input. Sorry, I didn't enunciate that very well. You can head on over to our Instagram stories where we post all of the segments and all the things we talked about on the episode. So you can vote who you think was wrong. And then on our Friday episode, which is titled Fisting Friday, you can also send in your thoughts spelled with a OTS or with the other way. I can't remember how to spell the other way off the top of my head. And we will read those aloud. And it's a good time. It's a wonderful time. But we'll get into each of like what the segments are specifically before we do them. But just know it's ethical shit talking and requested, solicited shit talking.
And also just shit talk.
Good one.
How are you doing? I didn't ask you like how your weekend was. We didn't get into it on See You Next Tuesday.
My weekend was great. My in-laws were in town. They literally just left today. We have a new member of the family. Our niece was born and she's adorable. She's a little chonkster, which is shocking and surprising because her brother was very tiny and very alien-like when he was born. So she's got like chubby cheeks. She's like she was cooked. He was not as he was a little undercooked before. She's adorable. It's fun. We hung out, a lot of family hanging out, and then Matz's parents have just like come over and hung out here with us. And then I also did a little bit of fall decor shopping for transforming. Well, I ordered something from Bezos Emporium and some cute stuff. And then Matz's mom also got me these like little Halloween lights. And our neighbors are like very into Halloween. And so I looked over this morning and I was like, these bitches have fully decked it out. And I'm about to be like, where'd you get half? Like, I need you to, they're like creatives, but Halloween is like their holiday. Like they didn't live here last Halloween. So one of the first things we met them, they asked, they're like, what was Halloween like here? And I was like, the best day of my goddamn fucking life. So I'm looking forward to it. But everyone's got like cute Halloween decorations. Like it's starting.
I'm excited.
And I'm pretty excited. So yeah, that's pretty much what I did. And then I haven't posted it yet. Hopefully by the time this is out, I will have posted it, which means I would have gotten more work on it. I saw someone who was using Procreate to make a little digital scrapbook thing with their photos and like draw, not just on the photos, but like collage and scrapbook the photos. And so I started doing that, which was fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm mad at Sprouts because they haven't had like any of my snacks for a really long time.
I'm sorry. Did you try ordering it on the app and they'll bring it from a different store?
I could probably do that. But I'm lazy. Oh, and then I tried to build a light and I was looking at the image upside down the whole time and turns out it was a standing light when it was meant to be the ceiling light. And Mats was like, why does this have a plug? And I was like, oh, I was looking at the picture upside down. Maybe. IKEA accepts returns with receipts. Did I have a receipt? No. But I had an IKEA family card and I took a picture of where the bin was, like on the thing. So like the day that I was buying it. So I had the day that I bought it and my family card. So everybody get an IKEA family card because it was returned in 0.2 seconds flat.
I have one.
And I got a Christmas tree. I set it up yesterday and I was like, I hope to go. And like,
you set it up yesterday?
Hold up. I set it up in our big bay window and I was like, I hope our fucking neighbors don't see me being like, bitch, what are you doing? Everyone is just pulling out their Halloween decorations. But I ordered it from Target and it was one that I also saw on Wayfair, but we needed one, like the one we had from our old place that we used last year is far too fucking big for this house. And so they were still on sale now and like full stock. And so I was like, I want to get it. And then if I don't like it, I can return it in store and then buy another one that's still on sale because it's not Christmas tree season yet. And I liked it. I took it down and put it back in the box.
You went through all that effort?
Yeah. It would have taken me a lot longer to like take it down once his parents were there. So I was trying to be like, I've got it together.
I'm glad that you did things that you enjoyed.
Thank you.
Shall we get into the episode now?
I think it's a wonderful, amazing, life-changing idea.
You're up for But Am I Wrong? And that's when we share things either from our personal life, hot takes, rants that we'd like to present to everyone. And we'll vote on if it's wrong or not.
Mine is a hot take / rant.
Okay.
And it is merely just a sentence. We should know less about each other, comma.
I agree.
Unless what I'm finding out is juicy or morbid gossip. Because it feels like right now, people are telling us things that I don't need to see, I don't need to hear. But then there are other things that I go, why did you remove all the pictures of you and your husband on social media? And I'm going to have to deep dive. Like, I'm going to have to figure all this stuff out. Like, you inherited a whole lot of money. I would like to know which family member has passed and how they accumulated their wealth. Like, there are those things there, but you and I don't need to see is people just sharing absolutely everything, which is that rich coming from me? Yes. But I think about the things that I'm sharing beforehand. And I think in the age and era of TikTok, people they know conceptually that any video can blow up. And so they're willing to go through great lengths to kind of blow up. But then there's not, no offense, there's not a lot of hard work put into that. It's just kind of like a concept and a notion. Then it happens and they go, oh, fuck, I actually don't like this. This is really scary and really hard. And the two
Why'd you say no offense as if I had done this?
Oh, no, not at all. But like, this spurred from two things. First, we've all seen the video. Melissa sent it to me. Cruel woman. The love surge video, which I feel bad for that woman where I go, that is an inside thought. Like, if someone filmed Mats and I, that is one of those things that like, I would never put that on the internet because I'm like, when you're being gross and cringy as a couple, but like other people don't need to see that.
I don't feel bad for it at all. Did you watch the other videos on their channel?
No, because as soon as you sent it to me, I removed it.
That's the kind of videos that they put on their channel. Like,
okay, well then she cried about it. And here's the thing. I don't need to know this about you because if I know this about you, there are certain things that like you have to read the room, know the audience, but also if you put something into the ether, you don't know how people are going to react. And like, you know how you filter some of the information you tell maybe your parents or your friends or your coworkers. The internet is not promising that they are not going to make fun of you to your face. Like, so to me, I'm just like, don't share that. Don't share that. We all do gross, annoying, cringy things as a couple. And like Mats was like, this is disgusting. He goes, someone could probably film us and we'd be just as good. But like, I was like, yeah, we would never fucking film that. Like, we would never put that online. And then the second one was a girl, I think it was started on Twitter, but it started on Instagram where she did a video being like, my boyfriend and I like have been living together for a couple years and like just like a little life update. He has moved out and we're still together. Like our relationship isn't changing or anything like that. But like, his brother graduated college and like him and his brother have like always, they've always wanted to live together. And so like now they're going to like live together and it doesn't mean anything about our relationship. And I'm like, nobody needs to know this because now you have hundreds of thousands of people being like, girl, what? Also, from what I have heard through comments and how other discourse about this, these brothers grew up together. They lived together for at least 18 years. So, or not at least, but like potentially over 10 years. And so it's like, they've already done this. Like, we're just backtracking in this. You don't have to address everything. Like the same kind of energy that these people give of gatekeeping where they got their genes. We don't need to know everything about all of this because then when you turn around on the internet and you're like, oh my God, how could the internet be so mean? I'm like, I am so sorry. You handed me a bomb and then you said, don't throw it back. And I'm like, underhand fucking soft ass pitches here that like, yes, people are knocking on the park. Like, it's not even, people don't even have to try very hard to make fun of you when you give them all of this. Just stop. But tell us the things we want to know about. If you have a secret boyfriend, no, I want to know who that boyfriend is.
It's not a secret anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if it's a secret, let me figure it out. Give me, like, make sure that I can figure it out in 1 to 3 clicks. Like, I want that. Like, how did you make your mass amounts of wealth? Tell me, oh, my husband has committed tax fraud. Like, that is the stuff I would like to know. But like, give me the juicy stuff or give me none at all. So
I agree.
That's mine.
I agree. There's even like just thinking about people that I like went to school with at any point in my life. If the internet wasn't around, I'm never supposed to see those people again. Yeah. They shouldn't know what's going on in my life either. But
we shouldn't know how many celebrities don't bathe their children.
I saw this video like 2 days ago where somebody was like, professional nanny was like, yeah, they may not be bathing their children, but we're doing it for them. So that's what it is. She's like, those children, they have nannies.
They're like, our kids don't stink. And they're like, yeah, why do you think they don't stink? We're watching.
Yeah. And it was somebody that said she worked for somebody famous in the same way. So their children are getting bathed.
If I was a child and then I grew up, I'd be like, why'd you get up in there and tell them that like I have a dirty ass?
Yeah. when I didn't, I was literally getting bathed every day.
By my nanny.
Mm-hmm.
While you were off doing what? I don't know.
Not bathing yourself since you think it's okay.
Attending Scientology meetings.
Womp. But I agree with you. People, the love surge person, their whole account is cringe. It's a lot of stuff.
So then why did she cry?
I don't know. I think because that one was the one that people were actually responding to, and they probably didn't have that much attention until people saw that one. And then she was living her life as normal. Then that one got a lot of traction, and that's what they do in there every day.
Yeah, people think the internet is a safe space. And I firmly believe the only things that you should put out online are things that you'd be comfortable with your best friend and your arch enemy knowing. If they both say good or bad things about it, it doesn't change. You should be able to stand by what you're saying regardless of who the audience is.
Yeah.
But it's something you have to learn. Mm-hmm. And the love surge is a lesson. Write it in the books.
Well, you're not wrong.
Thanks.
Here's mine. It's a real catch-22 here.
Where did that phrase come from? I'll Google it.
So I gave all the details, most of the details about my business trip this past weekend to Houston. And I happened to be in town the same weekend that Beyonce's concert was. So I got tickets. And so...
I love a coincidence here.
I know. And so while I was there on my way to the concert, we got an Uber. So on the way to the concert, we got an Uber, as one does. It was the first lady. We're like, yay, we got a lady, because we've been there the whole weekend and hadn't seen a lady Uber driver. We get in and she's like, let me check your bags to make sure you have the right ones for the concert. I'm thinking, yeah, a real girl's girl here. And then she started talking about how the people that she'd picked up yesterday for the concert had these big designer bags, and they had all these different outfit changes because they were going to do a photo shoot. And she was like, your bags are going to be thrown in the trash. And they're like, really? And then she said that she pulled up the information and read them, and then they went back in. I was like, cool. Thank you for the story. So we're driving along, and then she proceeds to tell us that she has, and by us, I mean my friend Catherine, proceeds to tell us that she has a medical condition in which she shouldn't be driving.
Shut the fuck up.
And she said that she went to the doctor, and according to her, the doctor said it was just a state of mind if she should be driving or not.
Can we give the precursor that you have you get stressed about that, but specifically other people in charge of the transportation that you are riding in is up top there with Melissa's worst worst day ever. You don't even like to be a passenger in someone else's car when you're riding shotgun. You like to be the driver.
I like to be the driver or in the backseat, but I prefer to be a driver because I like to have control of the situation. But I do, Uber a lot, and I have on my Uber, I have it set to don't talk to me, but Catherine had ordered this one. And I think because the reason I have it like that, I love a good chit chat when, it's not somebody who knows where I live and, might start sharing too much personal information. I'm like, ooh, no, you don't need to have all my information, Yep. If we keep it so no one's talking, there's no sharing of information from anyone. Mm-hmm. But I'm actually glad this woman shared, because she just kept talking on and on and on, and said that the week before, or no, it was a month before, she had been in a car accident, and she just got her car back a couple days before. And so she hadn't been driving all that time. And also that she had bought a used car, and she was like, and 2 of the tires are bald as we're getting on the highway. She's like, yeah, I'm going to get them changed later. What?
We should know less about each other. What are you supposed to do with that information?
What am I supposed to do? What, truly, what am I? And then
thanks,
she's
girl.
like,
as a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But at Realm, we also sell some pretty cool merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. When you think about successful businesses like Aloe or Allbirds or Skims, an often overlooked secret is the business behind the business that makes selling and, for shoppers, buying simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. That's because nobody does selling better than Shopify. It's the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret secret that's definitely worth talking about is that Shop Pay boosts conversions up to 50%. That's more happy customers and way more sales going. If you're hoping to grow your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling, on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/realm to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/realm.
Giving us all this information about how she's her father's primary caregiver, even though he lives in like Iowa, somewhere in the Midwest. I think she said Iowa, but I'm like terrified for my life. Me and Catherine are exchanging looks. We're on the highway, so it's not like we can just get out, and saying that she drives to go get him. And we're like, you told us that you're not supposed to be driving, and you got in a car accident last month. And she's also telling us about her boyfriend, who is also an Uber driver, and they have like little romantic time where they'll pull over. And then he calls and she puts him on speakerphone. And it wasn't like he was really saying anything, but it's just the fact that she's taking the call on speaker while she's driving and giving us all this information and on bald tires.
Ma'am, is this the boyfriend who you rendezvous with on your in parking lots?
Yeah. And I just don't think that I should know all this information about this woman, and then my safety is in jeopardy. But the real catch-22 here, the John Quinones dilemma, what would you do? We ended up, when we got to a place where we could get out the car, which was only a few, like it would have been just like another block. We just got out and we're like, thank you. Like the way we hopped out this car was incredible.
I'm glad she could make a full stop on those bald tires.
Luckily, because everybody was going to the concert, we were just creeping along anyway. So it wasn't like she was speeding down the street. So we just hop out the car and kind of just like grab each other like,
we survived.
We survived. But through all this, she told us, she was like, if I didn't drive, I wouldn't know how I would make money doing Uber. And she said, she was like, this is how I pay for my health care and all this information. She's like, I truly don't know how I would make money. So if you were in this situation, and this is how we're going to pose it to everyone. If you were in this situation, would you report them to Uber for safety reasons? Because them driving is a hazard to both themselves, the people in the car, and other people around. Or do you not say anything because then she won't have a job?
Well, here's where ADHD plays in really well for me, is if I say I'm going to think on it, it leaves my brain. And so in the likelihood possibility, I probably would not report, not because I think that's the right thing to do, but because I would think on it and then I would forget to do it. So I don't have to make a decision in that, even though that in itself is making a decision. Oof, I don't know what I would do in the end, because I think I would probably in the moment suggest, like, have you ever heard of doing like Turo, where you can like rent your car out and other people are drivers on that? And I mean, it's not great, but
she wouldn't be able to rent that car out in the condition that it was in, because Turo does an inspection of the cars.
Oh, fair. I mean, see, I also kind of operate in the sense, I'm like, if you're telling me about this, you are handing me information knowing that what I can do with said information, versus someone who's like being like someone who's shady, who's like hiding all of that stuff. I'm like, you're out here saying something about it. How was she as a driver?
Terrible. She also said
then I would have.
She also said that which I forgot to mention now that you say that. She also said, I've been reported many times to Uber for reckless driving, and I always respond back, are they from Houston? Because if they're from Houston, they know that this is how we drive in Houston.
No, then I would report her. I report anyone who's a bad driver.
Yeah.
Like if you're a bad driver, like here's the thing. If you are a victim of circumstance and like you don't have money to fix up your car, but like you are a stellar, we've all gotten in cars where it's like, I hope this makes it. And then you go, I would trust you with my life. Like if you're not, you can do both. You're not, that's not a victim of circumstance. That is also like, I'm not skilled at this thing that I have to do.
But then if she doesn't drive, then she can't pay for her doctor bills, according to her.
Well, also my other question is, if she's a primary caretaker for her father, she should be getting government payments for that.
She should, but she doesn't live in the same state as him.
Mm-hmm.
So she's using the money to take care of him.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah. No, I would report her.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I said to do, but it wasn't my account. So we'll see. I'm going to remind Catherine because we got out the car and literally like grabbed each other, afraid for our lives.
Yeah. No, I report any Uber driver that is a poor driver, and it's like, or they're like very aggressive and they're yelling at people, and I'm like, don't want to get shot. Like I have zero desire to do that, and like this is not the instance that I want of that.
Mm-hmm. That was terrifying.
Yeah. Also, I just think like getting in anyone's car who's from the city and you're not there, like I can guarantee any tourist who comes to LA, we could get in the same Uber and they're shitting their pants. And I'm like, totally fine. I'm used to it. But like when I'm in a new city, we're zipping and zagging, stressful as hell.
Mm-hmm. Which I will say, Houston drivers, probably worse than East Side LA drivers, but...
Sorry, West Side LA drivers are so much worse.
Disagree.
They're too slow. So they like don't know, like the second that things like decisions have to be made, they're the people who like don't, or like when you get up to order and they go, oh, what's on the menu? And it's like, oh my God.
See, I'm fine with that. People on the East Side don't look, don't put on blinkers.
They know where they're going and they're going to get where they're going. And they're going to get there fast. Yesterday,
I was on
the 10 or the 110. No shot. You were on the 134.
Okay, maybe it's the 5. But where it's like, take these exits to go downtown. Anyway, that place right there was an Aston Martin that got hit by a semi, but like their car was fine. But they just didn't move the car to the side of the road. They were just sitting in the middle of the street, backing up traffic for no reason because they didn't want to move their precious car.
Yeah, that's an Aston Martin problem. Mm-hmm. And this is why anytime you meet someone, specifically men with fancy cars, you say, oh my God, I love Mazdas. And they go, this isn't a Mazda. And you're like, it's got the little M. Cute. And then for an Aston Martin, you go, oh, Acura.
I love that.
Adorable. Those are so cute. I don't know if they still made these. Is this the one with the commercial with the little gerbils? They're going to lose their mind. Gaslight people out of having these crazy expensive cars. If you have a car like that, get your ass off the fucking freeway. Get your ass off of the freeway.
That's a car you drive like
on the coast. That's it. Get a drone, drive it on the coast, then Turo that shit. Like, do not put this on the freeway and then get upset when freeway shenanigans happen to your car.
Yeah, that's a cruising car. You don't put a cruising car on the highway.
Especially in LA when you're start, stop, go, start, stop.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we'll get into But Are You Wrong?
We're back from our break, and it's time to get into our next segment, which is But Are You Wrong? And this is where you, listeners, will write in with your predicament, your situation, where you would like us to be the jury and the judge, and we tell you if you are wrong. So 300 words or less, please. It is all anonymous, but include your age, and if you want to do some aliases for the other people involved in the story, please do so. Oh, and send it to butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. I was listening to an episode from July about concert etiquette, and it reminded me of something that happened in August. My boyfriend and I went to a concert in Atlanta. It was a theater, so it was a fully seated venue. Almost my entire section stayed seated for about 60% of the concert. We were all getting up for the more hype songs and sitting down for slower stuff. Everyone was still having fun while seated, but the person directly in front of my boyfriend stood up the entire time. She stood up at the start of the first song while everyone stayed seated. My boyfriend got a little frustrated, but waited until break in songs while the artists were getting water to ask the woman if she would mind sitting down. She got upset immediately and told him he should just stand up and enjoy the concert. He explained that he would, but he couldn't without blocking more people's views. She just scoffs and turns back around. A few songs later, the woman behind my boyfriend tries to get the attention of the woman that's standing because her view is getting blocked too. She asks her if she would mind sitting down because her view is blocked. The standing woman gets mad and kind of sits on her chair. You know how theater seats fold down to sit? She was sitting on it while it was still up. So still a good torso higher than the people behind her. After one song, she was back to standing. Should she have sat down or were we being unreasonable? She should have sat down. Strong belief she should have sat down. Can she see? Is there someone in front of her? Because my question is, if you can see, seated or standing, why would you want to stand so that other people can't see? These people also paid for tickets, you know?
I might have a controversial take on this.
I mean, I've said it before and I'll say it again, but I think we need to have sections that are not just like, oh, standing and seated in the sense that like you have a seat or you don't, but like in the seated sections, we should have sections that are, we are all going to sit while we're here. And so therefore, if you stand, like you have to go somewhere else. And versus then one that's like intermittent standing and sitting. And then ones that are like, we're going to just stand the entire time because it is mobility issues. Like I'm not someone who can stand up like the whole time and we all paid to go. But the issue is then I also think like it's kind of domino effect where it's like if one person is standing and then that person can't see, then they stand up and then the other people can't see. And so you're asking one person to like sacrifice their view for other people to have their view. I don't think that's I think that's kind of more of a difficult choice. But I think if you don't have to stand, and if you have to stand for like, you know, mobility things, like you need to like stretch out, tell the people who work there and they will let you like, you know, stand off a little bit towards the side every couple songs if you need to stretch your legs and then sit back down. It's my belief system.
I personally believe that I would enjoy concerts more if everybody sat down.
Me too.
But I understand that, like in the same way that person that was standing at that Adele concert, and she was like, let them stand. I want to know who the artist was, because if 40%, that's a big chunk of people. And you're saying that y'all are getting hype, people are standing up on more of the hype songs, but like, what if all the songs are her hype songs? So it's like, what's the justification of it there if y'all are standing? Like, are the hype songs ones that are just like the ones that everybody knows from the radio? Or is she somebody that listens to all the cuts? And so like all of it was her jam. And if people were were there like for a lot of it, then I feel like maybe y'all just weren't big fans as she might have been.
You're making me realize that they did stand up for other songs. It's just you were deciding which songs you were down to stand up for. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. No. Yeah. You're right. That it's a taste and preference issue.
Yeah. So if every song was her hype song, so she's just supposed to sit down when y'all sit down. So that's not fair to her. So either like I could understand if y'all were sitting most of the time, then cool. Like then you have that argument, but you were only sitting on the songs that you were hype about. And so she's supposed to follow your lead when you're behind her. I don't think that's fair to her.
No, that's a good point because at Taylor Swift, like I was saying, I was stoked that the people in front of me seemed to have similar taste as I did. But there were like sometimes a person would stand up, but I'm standing up for the songs that I wanted. But I'm also being like, oh, you're sitting down? Cool. I can sit down and also still enjoy my view. But yeah, I wouldn't be, there's no way I could ask someone to, because I'm also standing at other points. Then you're right, that doesn't, it's not, there's, your argument doesn't hold as much weight there because you're being like, can you actually sit when I want you to sit? Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say that you were in the wrong.
I probably would have done the same thing that you did in the sense that like those are the songs I probably would have sat at. And I probably would have been like, I wish she had the same taste and I wish she was sitting. But like, that would be the extent of it because that's just wishing someone had the same favorite songs as you. Mm-hmm. Wow. And suddenly I'm on Melissa's side now.
Welcome.
It's nice to be here.
All right. Next one. Hello, ladies. My sister scheduled her daughter's first birthday party on my son's actual birthday. She is fully aware that they share a birthday month and she won't change her daughter's party date because they already reserved a space at the park. I had planned on doing my son's party on his actual birthday since it falls on the weekend. She had suggested that we do a group party, but I don't want to do that since I know that all the attention would be on the 1-year-old and not my 3-year-old. Am I wrong for being mad and wanting to still set up my son's birthday party on his actual birthday? Absolutely not. She was wrong. Like, she's just point blank wrong. I have nieces whose birthdays are 1 day apart, big age gap, but they are 1 day apart. Like, one's on the 15th, one's on the 16th. And whoever's birthday is like on that Saturday, if it's on a Saturday, then that's that person's birthday party. You don't schedule another birthday party on it unless one's in the morning and one's in the evening. And so, yeah, like that, you get first dibs on your actual birthday, point blank, period. And that was very inconsiderate of her and inconsiderate of her nephew too. That's mean.
Yeah. May the best birthday party win. Like, I would still throw the birthday party on the same day. And I think the issue is that like if you're going to like die on this hill, you have to understand that like some people might pick that birthday party over your son's birthday party. And I know he's only 3, you said, but like the level of petty that like it might feel like a big get back to your family or friends or whatever, because you're still going to throw on the same day. If you do a vibe check and you find out that some people who you know he would really want to be there aren't going to be there, then pick a different day, because I just don't think it's fair to use because like it might not think he won't remember, but like it's just then there's tension around him. It has nothing to do with him, but like a kid will feel that, and you're not gonna take it on your kid, but like other people might, and it's just he didn't ask to be a part of like a petty vendetta the same way a 1-year-old didn't. And so I think if you can't have a birthday party where you know that the people that he would want to be there and the people that you really want to be there for him aren't going to be there, then I would pick another day but still be pissed off as fuck and be like, yeah, I thought that was really shitty of her.
My hospital stay would have cost $25,000, but with VA healthcare, it's free.
My education would have cost $42,000, but with VA benefits, my books, tuition, and housing are all covered.
The down payment for my home would have been $74,000, but with my VA home loan, my down payment was $0. My service was then. My benefits are now. Get what you earned. Visit choose.va.gov.
Not all veterans are eligible for the type or amount of benefits mentioned here.
Yeah, because I think like if you're able to, like if theirs is in the afternoon, maybe do it a little later, because the family members are going to then have to pick like the other people in the family. So I wouldn't want to put them in that situation. And you didn't put them in the situation, your sister did. But I just think like being a bigger person for your kid is the move. But she sucks.
Well, and because the sister can say, I asked her if she wanted to share the date for the birthday, but she didn't. So like, I don't think you should do that. I still think what she did was fucked up, but she can say that and use that. And you obviously know your family members better than we do. But like, I could see that very quickly becoming like she's painting a specific narrative of you being difficult, and other people might be susceptible to that and view it as like a kind thing that she offered to do. When it's not.
I'm sorry. That's terrible.
Yeah, I'd be pissed. Also, what is a birthday party for a 1-year-old that you have to book? It's like a big ass family.
She's not good. The thing is, the child isn't even going to remember it. All right. Well, that's it for But Are You Wrong? Now we're going to take a break.
We are back from our break, and it is time for But Are They Wrong? I'm dreading this because this is one of those things about somebody who, Melissa can testify, I've hated this person for a very long time.
You have.
But like, this isn't a satisfying thing. This is like, oh God, this person has been doing this on a platform in public for a very long time and like nothing's happening about it. So I would like to nominate Dax Shepherd. Dax Shepherd has a podcast with Monica Padman, who I love Monica Padman. And I started listening to the podcast and I really liked her and I tried my best to continue listening. And I stopped years ago. And Melisa will literally even make jokes of being like, you know, that one guy you hate. And I mean, sometimes it's David Dobrik, sometimes it's Dax Shepherd. Like I was like, I stopped listening. There's something about this man. There is something about him that is, I'm not cool with. And I like a lot of the guests he has on. I like a lot of the people there, but like, there's something about him. There is something about him. So he recently came into the news because on his podcast, Armchair Expert, he had Jonathan Van Ness, JVN from Queer Eye. And if you see any of the headlines, basically they're talking and pretty quickly on, and a lot of this is from a BuzzFeed article titled, let me give a shout out to the writer of this, because I will say, I read a Cosmopolitan article about this, and at the end, they're like, listen to the full podcast here. And I was like, I also was not liking how you were recapping this. And then I was like, let me go over to BuzzFeed. And I was like, there we go. These are these are the adjectives I like to hear. This is right. And we're not ending this by promoting, listen to the full which is essentially implying, well, listen to it in context. And it is by Leila Mohammed, titled Dax Shepherd and Jonathan Van Ness had an incredibly heated discussion about trans rights and gender affirming care, and it left Jonathan in tears. This basically all started because Jonathan had said that in their belief system that they think that right-wing ideologies are really stemmed from a lack of education. Dax disagreed, stating that people on the right simply, quote unquote, have a difference of opinion. They are conservative. They don't like how quickly the country's changing. I understand that. I can sympathize with that. They have different fears than we do. It's not because they're dumb or uneducated. They have a difference of opinion. Jonathan then was like, well, misinformation and disinformation also plays a huge role in their thinking, especially when it comes to gender affirming care and access to abortion. So then it led into a debate, quote unquote debate, about the political leanings of the New York Times, which if more right leaning or left leaning. And Jonathan argued that it was far more right because of the anti-trans content that the New York Times has been writing, which is factually just true. That's not a basis of opinion. That is anyone who has followed, that is what they are writing. And said they're anti-trans. They platform multiple anti-trans people. And this is where, thank you, BuzzFeed, they gave them the reference. For reference, the New York Times has previously been called out by GLAAD for its inaccurate, biased coverage of trans people. And 10,000, not 10,000, I can't read numbers, 1,000 New York Times contributors and tens of thousands of subscribers signed an open letter condemning the outlet's coverage of transgender identity. So Dax didn't agree with that and suggested that the support of trans rights is a quote unquote huge spectrum, and that the publication was simply quote unquote challenging the ideas around trans rights, such as, you know, the access for teens to receive hormone blockers, which again, there are cis kids who receive hormone blockers. And when we get to a certain age, pretty much everybody is on some form of hormone. Mm-hmm. Then Dax said, the whole notion that to be critical or to even think or to even question it makes you the enemy, I don't think that's the way forward. And Jonathan then responded saying, I feel like I'm talking to my dad, and started to go on and discuss like the dangers of the misinformation when it comes to trans people. And then it got into the topic of trans athletes and saying what the right-wing media has been portraying, that trans athletes are absolutely, completely dominating all of that, was like, this is just not true. And this is, you're believing that and hearing that and regurgitating this information is, you are hearing like propaganda and anti-trans coverage that this is not based in fact, but it is being reported in fact from publications essentially that you're viewing as left-leaning. And like, this is what I'm telling you, like, this is mis and disinformation. So, and then saying, all I'm saying about what we know about misinformation and disinformation is when you have an outsized reaction to something, there's a good chance that you're being exposed to misinformation and disinformation. And a lot of the rhetoric around the anti-trans backlash does have a lot of misinformation and disinformation in it. I'm not calling you a transphobe. You cannot be transphobic and still have thoughts that espouse trans misogyny and espouse transphobic ideologies and beliefs. This went on for more than 20 minutes of this conversation. and talked about, again, trans kids and athletes being in sports. And Jonathan said that like I'd love if we could talk about this in depth on my podcast, which is a much better format to have these conversations, because coming in as the guest with all of the knowledge and information into a space that is like clearly not safe for that and like wants to challenge that is like not safe at all for Jonathan specifically. And then Dax apologized for the tangent and said he did not intend to start a heated debate. I adore you. I think that you're hysterical and talented, and I love that you're an activist, which all of this shit made Jonathan cry, saying, I could just cry because I'm so tired of having to fight for little kids because I just want to be included. I just wish that people were as passionate about little kids being able to be included or grow up as they were about fictitious women's fairness in sports. I have to tell you, I am very tired. I'm scared of the vitriol that trans people face every day. And I'm really glad this is getting a lot of people talking about this and writing this, because it has had a lot of people who have listened to Armchair Expert much longer than I have come out and say, this man is trash. I was picking up on bad vibes and little sprinklings, but not any of these things. So let's get into what he has done. So he did an episode talking about Taylor Swift and goes on to be like, why does John Mayer get shit for dating people, but like not Taylor? And then says she collects famous men. Then Monica brings up, you've dated more famous people than Taylor. And then he's like, no. And she goes, no, Dax, like I know you personally. Like people in public, the audiences know everybody. You've dated a lot of people publicly, but like you've dated far more people privately. Like you've done that. Then he starts changing the goalpost and being like, well, no. It's just like, you know, I understand that slut shaming is like real for women, but why does Taylor Swift not get any of this heat? And then like John Mayer gets all this heat. And it's like, first of all, she gets so much heat. What are you talking about? John Mayer doesn't get virtually any heat. And he's like, no, he does. And then Monica brings up, well, no, it's mostly a large bit of it is about the age difference. And he said, well, he dated Jennifer Aniston. Oh, okay. So because a guy dates one woman over 40, therefore he has never actually dated anybody who was of an alarmingly young age. Like it's like PEMDAS. It cancels each other out. And it's like literally, sir, no, not once ever. And then he brings up about how he dated Ashley Olsen and was like, but Ashley, you know, Ashley was not a normal 20, 22-year-old. Like she'd already started a fashion, like she did all of this stuff. Basically to imply that if you've lived enough life, your brain is essentially fully developed. And like, so therefore you're a science and medical marvel. And it's like, oh, you're using this to defend ahead of the time already about how, you know, these age gaps are not really. And he was like well into his 30s when he was
It's the
dating
same argument that Chloe used when Kylie was dating all those men when she was like 16, dating grown men. That was the same argument that Chloe used.
No, and I have friends who've dated guys who are way older, and I know the reason they've dated them because they're older is because they had to grow up way too fast. It is not so it's fine. I'm going like, so this is how we got here.
Yeah.
Like,
as I've said, the Olsen twins had countdowns to when they turned 18. There were men literally waiting. Even Ashton Kutcher made a joke about it too.
Speaking of, guess who his bestie is? Ashton Kutcher.
They look like they'd be best friends.
Yep, he's who got him his first big break. I guess he was on Punk'd or something like that. And then someone was making a TikTok commenting about this, and someone commented being like, they're not really friends. And like Dax's true friends like aren't famous people. I click on the profile. It's this guy who's like a server. Like he does like serving content. Like I train servers. I click on his Instagram. This man is at I'm sure he was the one taking the photo at that long ass table with all of the white people on the dock and shit. Like he's at every holiday. He's on every trip with Kristen and Dax. Like he's there. And I'm like, the whole thing you took away from this information is that he's not that close to Ashton Kutcher. Like that's the only part you're going to comment on. Like, good God. So also he has been in an interview, someone asked Kristen Bell, like, oh, how often, like you two married, like you must be laughing all the time, Kristen. And she was like, oh, I'm laughing like all the time. He's so funny. He makes me laugh. And they said, Dax, you so lucky to be with such a funny woman. Like she's so funny. He goes, I mean, she's not funny. Like she doesn't make me laugh. Excuse me. Also, allegedly, she cannot get tattoos because he does not find them attractive on women. So then we get into the Kelly Clarkson episode. And when I tell you my jaw was on the fucking floor, and when I Googled this, Melissa, nobody wrote about this. That people on TikTok are the only people I've seen. I was looking up articles, and the only articles were coming up was Kristen Bell lets her kids drink non-alcoholic beer. And I'm like, there's nothing about Kelly Clarkson in this. I'm searching Dax Shepherd, Armchair Expert, Kelly Clarkson. Nobody was writing about this. So thank you to I saw probably like a dozen TikTok TikToks like about this specifically. I will be shocked if this episode is not pulled by the time that like this episode comes out. So Kelly Clarkson's on, which America's true sweetheart, like the absolute most beloved woman in the whole world. So the fact that like they didn't pick, and like she gets written about so much. So like the fact that this is not being written about anywhere makes me think that it is intentionally not being written about. Like people are not letting them write. Like of all the people to write about, you do headlines about what Kelly Clarkson's talking about. Like she's talking about her divorce. She's talking about all this shit. There is nothing. So the specific context for this apparently came from like a different episode where Dax and Monica were talking about this. And then it gets, and people, the audience was uncomfortable with it. And then it gets brought up again on the episode with Kelly Clarkson. So I don't know the official lead up into this conversation. So it's going to sound really fucking stark. I'm going to assume it's by the nature of what this is. Like, I don't know a normal segue or one that wouldn't feel like really fucking weird, but just know that like it might be slightly less weird because there is a preamble that I can't give you. So Monica says that, you know, what she knows for sure that like if they're going to jail for something, she knows like, I think they're talking about like the future of something, like we can't know anything for sure. And she's like, well, I know for sure I would never, trigger warning for rape. Monica says, I know for sure, like I would never sexually assault someone. Like I can tell you like me now, me tomorrow, me any day, like I'm never going to do that. And Dax goes, no, hold up. You don't know that. And she's like, no, I would never. And Kelly was like, yeah, I would never. And Dax is like, no. Let me paint you a picture. And again, it's clear that they've already had this conversation. And she's like, oh my God. And it's like saying essentially like offhand to Kelly being like, he keeps saying, and I'm like, no, it's not a thing. And he's like, no, Kelly, let's get Kelly's insight. And he describes in detail about how her celebrity crush is Matt Damon. And how if Matt Damon was over at her house, he had too much to drink. He can't drive home and he passes out on her couch. And Kelly's like, I'd be like, cool, nice. See you tomorrow. Like, go to my fucking room. And he goes, no. Come on. You know, you don't want him to sleep in his shoes. And she's like, I don't give a shit if he's wearing shoes. Like, if he got too drunk at my house, it's his own fucking problem. They're like, you take his shoes off and you're like, okay, you set them aside. And then you're like, oh, he's so uncomfortable. And he's saying it like this. He's saying it like, oh, so uncomfortable. He's wearing jeans. You take his jeans off. And they're both like, no, like literally nothing about this is sexy. And they're like, wait. And you find out, and he specifically uses this, he's raw dogging in those jeans. And you want to stare and like, you don't know what's going to happen. And they're both like, no, nothing is going to happen. Like that is not sexual. That is not hot. I'm not attracted to any part of that. And they're like, people got upset with them laughing. And I think like as women, we have to acknowledge when women laugh uncomfortably in a room where the man has all of the power.
Yep.
And specifically, I think we also need to note that the power that the woman specifically whose co-host has, Monica, is she's the editor. Monica could have cut this out. Monica did not cut this out. So Monica's either so desensitized to this bullshit or is breadcrumbing. And then this is a breadcrumb the size of a goddamn fucking dinner roll. People to be like, look at what I'm dealing with. Tell on yourself. Exactly. And I'm just like, women, we're smart. Stop lumping us in as like, oh, they're laughing because they also find it funny. This is also Kelly fucking Clarkson who comes on and it's like the studio, as far as when I was listening, it was like in a garage over his part of his house. Like you were in his home. Okay. And they said like, not sexy, nor would we ever do that. And then they said, you know, like you're thinking like a man, which people also got upset with. Like, you're not thinking like a man, you're thinking like a rapist. To that, I say one and the same. I don't think that they're not calling him a rapist. I think they're calling him a man who is viewing this in that way. And I'm actually glad they specifically used that phrasing because he said, well, no, obviously I couldn't do this as a guy because, you know, the world, society, but as a woman, I definitely could. And it's like, so you mean to say that you understand that as a man, you're thinking this would quote unquote be considered dicey if you did this as a man, and you have that knowledge, but you're saying as a woman, you should be doing that. And then says that like it just wouldn't fly in today's climate. And all of these
or ever.
Yeah. No, it's rape. Like, sir, you're describing rape. And in all of these circumstances, all the stuff with JVN, Taylor Swift, and Kelly Clarkson, every single thing it's just interesting. Or just to play devil's advocate for a second, or I'm just asking questions. And let's just say for argument's sake, and he's just basically going, AKA, I'm about to say something awful. And if you get upset, that's on you because I'm actually just an intellectual and it's not that deep. And it's like, shut the fuck up. The devil doesn't need an advocate. We've been over this before. But truly, stop talking. Or if you're going to keep talking like this, where the fuck is everybody else who's not reporting on this shit? Like, I'm so glad that I'm not glad that JVN had to go through any of this, but the fact that this is actually getting press and people are actually writing about this, because the amount of shit that he has been saying on his podcast for years that I stopped listening, I didn't hear about, I haven't seen anybody write about. This shit is awful and horrific, and it's not funny whatsoever.
No.
So, fuck this man. Close friends with Ashton Kutcher. So, birds of a feather. Yeah, this is like and I made a tweet about this where someone said, well, it's not just someone, it's like the gun rights activist, Shannon Watts.
Mm-hmm. She is the former president of Moms Demand Action. I've had her on podcasts before.
So she quote tweeted the article with JVN saying, Dax Shepherd said he couldn't have me on his podcast because guns are too controversial. To which I quote tweeted saying, Hollywood is broken up into two sects. One, theater kids. Two, people who got lucky. The latter come from red states with alt-right friends and family they excuse, and a similar fan base they make sure not to ostracize. They marry seemingly progressive white women, and that is their liberalism. He has been hiding behind his wife and her notion, like what, and also again, as a white woman liberalism is not the same thing. Like, there's a lot of unpacking we have to do in that on our own, but like the only proximity he has to being progressive is his wife's progressiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And he also hates her for it. You can tell when he's doing these interviews saying that she's not funny and all of this shit. It's very much Chris Pratt on Affairs energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate that man.
Well, you were right this whole time.
You didn't doubt me though.
I didn't doubt you. I just I couldn't tell you one thing that he's been in.
Melissa, when I tell you that is the top comment on someone saying the best thing he's been in, and that was ... on, and
it's
everyone just said, his what?
Yeah.
The only thing we know about.
I know about him because of his wife and then because of his podcast, but that's more because of Monica. I've also had her on a podcast. She's wonderful. We should get her on this podcast, or don't blame me.
It's going to be, you know what I'm going to do? I need my middle of the night. I need to steal Chicks in the Office from Barstool. And I also need to steal Monica from Armchair Expert. I'm like, rescue these women. But he also gives me a red flag. Thinking about it now, I think one of the things is, I think it was after the episode he did with his mom. And his mom was a very incredibly strong woman, like left an abusive relationship. And like the way she spoke about all of these things that like the definition of like I come from, like my mother was the fucking backbone. And a man who surrounds himself with, let's say five incredibly strong women, he thinks he is untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
He thinks that is like a glossy sheen over his entire identity, everything he says, everything he does. Like, If I see you as like a cishet man and the only people you have are just strong women in your corner, I don't need to hear from you then. Like, do you have these women in your corner? Then these women, then you platform them. You do all of this. You don't hire them all to work underneath you, to lift you up. You don't hire them on. You don't bring them on to make you look good.
Awful.
Yep.
All right. Well, my turn. It's not a serious.
ABC Wednesdays.
Y'all complain all day. We want books. We want paper towels in the classroom. Bet you want raises too.
I'm still waiting on the paper towels.
Abbott Elementary returns with a new season.
We asked the district for more after-school programs. They gave us $50 for class pets instead.
Critics cheer. Abbott Elementary continues to be one of the funniest and most beloved shows on TV.
What y'all doing out there?
Taking bribes.
Proud of y'all.
Abbott Elementary, Wednesdays, 9:30, 8:30 Central on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Serious, but
we need some levity.
Yeah, it's not funny either, but it's just not as serious. So there's this woman on TikTok that goes by the handle Bevspeaks, and she calls herself Auntie Bev. And her full name is Beverly Mahone. She considers herself this vocabulary expert.
This is why I've never seen these TikToks.
She makes these videos of herself saying a word, using it in a sentence, giving it the definition. She's like a walking dictionary. And when I first saw her a couple years ago, I was like, cool, you know, I'm not great at saying words, but I'm good. Like I know a lot of words. I just can't vocalize them. So this will be, you know, a good follow for me to have. Then the more videos of her that I saw, the more I realized that she was like condescending and thought that she was better or superior to other people because of the way that she spoke. She went to a Wendy's, took out her camera, and she was in a drive-thru at the intercom part, and she berated this person through the drive-thru for having a bad vocabulary in Auntie Bev's mind. The woman said, "Order when ready," which, you know, you're going through a typical drive-in. That's what they're going to say. And then Beverly just yells, "Order when ready? That's how you greet your customers? I'm not ordering." Then she drives up to the window and records the actual workers and told them that she was reporting them to their superiors. And they're like, "You said you weren't ordering. Why are you recording us?" That was one of 3 incidents. Then she went to the dollar store and made this video about a woman that was working there saying, if your vocabulary is limited, you're going to be limited in the job opportunities for you. Get your vocabulary together so your job opportunities will be limitless, not limited. Condescending. And then she posted, it was just the worst thing, and this happened recently. She posted a video of an unhoused person sleeping on the street, and she's standing in front of them, and she goes, "The word of the day is penurious." And what does that word mean, you may ask?
I am asking.
Well, penurious means poverty-stricken or very poor. And she's saying this as she's standing in front of this person. And the thing is, this isn't the first video with this word that she's posted. This is the 3rd video. The last, it's like with each video, she's getting a little bolder. The first video, she was on vacation in the Dominican Republic, and she's just sitting on her balcony, but she said, "Mark is a penurious man who can't pay his water bill. Therefore, he collects rainwater in order to take a bath." And then the second video she made, she was just like, it looked like she was recording B-roll of unhoused people. And as they were on the street, and said, "If you saw someone under these circumstances, you might describe them as penurious." And I'm just like, ma'am, you need to change. If this name wasn't already taken and that person isn't really a Karen, you need to change your name to Auntie Karen, because that is who you are. And you think you're better than all these people. It's giving like a superiority complex. Just because you can talk, that you're able to talk well, that doesn't make you above anybody. So like, go have a seat. And she's still posting things. She took the one where she's standing in front of the unhoused person down, but all the rest of them are up. The one where she goes to Wendy's and to Dollar Store are still up. And then she's posting more and asking people to buy stuff from her too. Just bad vibes. That was somebody I had a bad vibe about, and I quickly unfollowed them.
She was asking people to buy things from her. Do you think that that's giving poor energy? Poverty stricken?
It might.
Ugh. Also, that big of a vocabulary doesn't change the fact that your personality sucks and you're just a fucking bitch. And you're a nasty bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh. You're like a nasty troll, like a witch, like a foul, nasty, like, ugh, get out of here. You'd think you use that vocabulary for like something better. Also, we don't need man on the street. Just open a dictionary and read it out loud. She literally just goes and stands in front of people as they're doing things. And she's like, "Let me look up what this can be." Because there's one where she's standing in front of a liquor store and these people are loading beverages in their car. And she says something smart about them. But I'm like, ma'am, you have food on your face. Yeah. But also, a lot of us could open a dictionary and read a dictionary. Like, this is not...
Yeah.
We're not grading essays. We're
not grading essays, but she's also repeating, like, she's just making the same content. Like, it's the same words.
Yeah. And like, you got these words from a dictionary And now you're just reading those words here. Like, and then you're using them in a sentence, just how they use them in a sentence in the dictionary. Yeah. Like, this isn't like a grammar or linguistics sort of deep dive discussion and that kind of breakdown. Like, we're just reading.
It is. But she also, the way that she says things is just very classist in the way that she even expresses the things that she's saying.
It also seems like she films a lot of young people too. And it's just giving very like, you Gen Zs, look at you.
That's why she wants to be called auntie.
Oh, specific. Yeah. She wants people to look up to her.
Yep.
This is like my literal like worst. There's nothing I hate more than people who have to like correct everyone on everything. Because like, we're not having a conversation then. Like, you're redlining my dialogue. Like, I'm not getting to know you. You're not getting to know me. Like, this conversation is not progressing forward.
It's not realistic. And I wonder how she is in her everyday life. She like specifically enunciates the way she says things and talks down. It's bad.
Yeah. She's also filming an Amazon delivery driver who has 2 prosthetic legs, and the caption that it says, "This is what resilience looks like." And it's like, I saw you coming out here to deliver. And it's like, let me accost my big word, Bev. Let me accost the delivery driver and have him become a quote unquote inspiration for disability. Like, yeah, that really aligns with the condescending kind of thing that like disabled people existing are just inspirational.
Yeah. It's like the people that do that red carpet where they roll it out. Do you know what I'm talking about? There's people that walk around with a red carpet and then they roll it out and have people walk across it. Like, I guess they think it makes people feel special or something. I don't know. But they just put one out that was like inclusion. And it was like people in wheelchairs or people with crutches and stuff. And I was like, why?
They're just existing.
Right.
People. It's just no. We have to let you know that we actually don't see you as people. So we're going to specially include you now. To then we're saying, look, we see you. We don't actually normally see you as humans, but like, here you are. Now I'm telling you, you have your own little subsection of.
Right. Just include them with your other videos that you don't have to make a special inclusion one. It's gross.
It's fucking gross. And also, yeah, you're right. The framing of all of this just being like, how do you pronounce these words? And telling people just like, say these. There's no like interesting nuance of like isn't it like some people say pop instead of soda, or like coupons versus coupon. It's just like, oh no, we're correcting.
All right. Well, that's the end of the show. Oh, we have an update.
Oh, yeah. So we have an update. Okay, so I wrote in about our petty friend Rachel, and oh wow, did you guys manage to peek into my subconscious and glean so many accurate observations from what I felt like was so little information. The quote-unquote group of associates that call themselves friends comment had my jaw on the floor. So damn accurate. Honestly, you're both just so goddamn right. It's tricky because there's so much nuance and detail that I couldn't include that made all of this a little bit more crunchy than it sounded in 300 words. But it was actually so useful to hear your perspective on the straight facts rather than all the distracting side shit I was bringing into it. Side note, the event is tomorrow and it's going to rain all day and be freezing. Karma's a relaxing thought. P.S. Sorry, it took me a while to actually listen to and respond. I have a toddler which distracts from such activities at times. Honestly, thanks again. I think I need that to snap me back into my original outrage. I love when that happens where people like will write in and it takes a while for us to get around to it. And they've kind of like, whether moved past it or like kind of put it in a box and they listen to it again. They go, I am pissed as fuck about that. Like, you know what? I am mad. And like, I love that.
Thank you for shining the light on this.
I love it. I love when we get to reignite some rage in some people.
But I'm glad you realize that these people aren't your actual friends.
Yeah. And so sometimes it's good to hear it from when you even think that you're like, oh, I'm not giving them enough information. They're probably going to say something like, I should have included this. And it goes, oh shit, in something that I don't think I gave you even all of it or enough of it for me to think you're going to be on the side I want you to be on. You're already so far there. Like, damn. Thank you for writing in. Anyone, no need to apologize if it takes you a while to like, whether you listen to your own call or write in. Like, we've had updates from people that's like, I called in 2 years ago. We love
Here's what happened.
Succubus.
Yeah.
We hope you all enjoyed this episode. As always, please leave us a review and subscribe. Make sure you can get like notified and put us in your feed so you always hear us. And the voting for last week's episode, the results will be up tomorrow in that episode of Fisting Friday. And if you want to vote for everything we talked about on this episode, that will be up pretty soon. I'm getting pretty good. I'm saying I'm getting my back on my schedule.
Yeah, good job.
I'm back on my shit. So you should check out our Instagram. Make sure you're following us in case it is not up on Friday. But Friday, Saturday, Sunday, it will be up and you can vote. And as always, just send us a little message if you vote a different way, or even if you vote the same way that we do, you have a reasoning for it, or maybe you know something else awful that Dax Shepherd has done and you're like, listen to this. We would love to listen to that and share that and read that. You can also tag us on things online or send us DMs. A couple people sent DMs of something that I was originally going to do, and then the Dax thing came out. So I'm glad that you are all wanting to hear about it, because it is a hyperfixation of mine that we will talk about probably next week. And yeah, anything else?
That's it.
Well, we hope you all enjoyed. Join the Patreon. Tell us how pretty we are and funny. Mm-hmm. We will circle back.
Goodbye.
But Am I Wrong is a production by me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMont, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
And production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast, and with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, this is Rob Benedict.
And I am Richard Spate. We were both on a little show you might know called Supernatural.
It had a pretty good run, 15 seasons, 327 episodes.
And though we have seen, of course, every episode many times, we figured, hey, now that we're wrapped, let's watch it all again.
And we can't do that alone. So we're inviting the cast and crew that made the show along for the ride. We've got writers, producers, composers, directors, and we'll of course have some actors on as well, including some certain guys that played some certain pretty iconic brothers.
It was kind of a little bit of a left field choice in the best way possible.
The note from Kripke was, he's great, we love him, but we're looking for like a really intelligent Duchovny type.
With 15 seasons to explore, it's going to be the road trip of several lifetimes. So please join us and subscribe to Supernatural then and now.